Good evening, and today is the 28th of November 2018. Let's take a look at a bunch of codes for which I have traded today. This one I feel like an idiot. I really feel like an idiot here. I mean, I feel smart with just not taking the chance. I was staring at this for minutes. Originally in here, I think when I was looking at it on this period, it was up to like 1550-ish or something. And I'm thinking, if there was ever a time to just quickly make a bet, even though I own a large amount of this coin as it already was, why don't I just make a big bet? Like, just bet all the Bitcoin I have available at that time on a day trade because it's probably going to go up. These are the things I was thinking about at this time. This is just moments ago. This is 1925 this started at. So it's about an hour ago. And then we have some periods. Oh, establishing resistance. This is where this is a 1 minute time frame. This is where I would like to see like the 10-second time frame. I'm of course not available, but a whole bunch of nothing happens. Volume steps in. I'm starting to notice this pattern very well. And then there we have it. It's starting to break out. This is the 1 minute time frame. Gets up to previous resistance, 1591. A little bit of a pullback. Of course, now notice that we got good periods. We can see good volume bars. This thing's moving. 1600 up to 1640. Good volume there too. Then up to 1680. Decent pullback to 1620, and there we have it, up to 1700, 1750. So by getting in here, it literally would have been a nice day trade where I could get probably a good 5, 6, 7, 8% average. Because I think the way to play it for me would be, okay, you just buy and then sell 15%, 20% here, and then 25% there, 30%, and then whatever. Just have like 3-4 times and you're out. And I would have had a bit more Bitcoin. But you know what? That's fine. That's fine. As the market has continued, of course, to just do such. So as far as orders, I had a whole bunch of different sellers because I'm selling every time this moves like 1.5%. I'm selling. And I sold near the top, of course, and I've bought near the bottom within this market because, I had my buy order at like 1600 low. 1625-ish or so. So I've had one buy order back from selling up here. Okay. And now, of course, I got a whole bunch of buy orders down below in the 1500s and fill all those ones in the 14s, so on and so forth. And I'm really missing not playing Bittrex today. Because this is what this looks like on Binance. Let's see if Bittrex still even has us over 1700. It does, barely though. This goes up to 21, down to 17. So the availability here to sell at like 18, 19, 20, and then buy back at like 17, 7, and 17.5, 17.3. It was there. In fact, it's still there. You can, at this time, if you have whatever Komodo you have here, the play would be sell all your Komodo on this site at 1700 or 17,000, and then buy back now at 1645 for a differential of 55 basis points. That's a 3% gain right there. You can, whatever you sell, if you sell like say 100, you buy back like 103, and there's the play. That would be part of a live arbitrage that was magnificent before, because if you had noticed it up here when it was in the, let's say, right around 20, for any of these minutes in here, that if you're able to sell close to 20 or the high 19s, and yet at the same point you're able to buy this back at the low 17s, Now you're talking about a differential of about 10%. So you sell 100 on Bittrex, you can buy 110 on Binance, or you can buy another 100 on Binance and then profit the Bitcoin on the side. So all of those things are available. Then you can transfer Bitcoin and Komodo back and forth as need be. Because if all you have was like say 100 or whatever, say all whatever you have on there, it's like okay, sell everything on Bittrex and then buy it on Binance and then move however many coins on Binance over to Bittrex. And because you sold all the Komodo there, you should have a bunch of Bitcoin you could transfer over to Binance if need be. At least that's what I have done in the past. Not doing so right now. That's fine. And that is that one. OST was my most recent sale, unless I've just sold something in the last 7 minutes. Or bought something. I said sell something because it seems everything's selling right now, which is cool. That's good. That's what I want. OST. Okay, let's take a look at this. So this is the 1 minute time frame. I sold near the top. Not really, 649. But I'll be looking to buy that back if it dips below 6 or to 600. No, no, no. If like 580ish or so, 575 would be the area where I'd be looking to buy back. And if this keeps going higher and we break this level of resistance, if I'm selling at 650, then I'm going to be looking to sell at about under 750 for the next one, and then see how that goes from there. Vertcoin had some sales as well for me. But before we go do that, let's just even get off this 5 minute time frame. Take a look at this on the 300 because what this coin has done, and actually I should do the same thing with Komodo as well. But what this has done is have this level of resistance that it established here on yesterday afternoon, November 27th. Did very well in correctly holding the 18 average of highs. Has now just broken past that levels, came back to that key point. It really needs to hold about 600 in this spot for this to not be a dead breakout. But if this thing continued going, this previous level of resistance close to it, but breaking above this little area here, I'm really looking at big previous support at around 710. Back to Komodo, which is at 1601, and on Bittrex at 1690. So now we have a differential of like over 5%. And at 1601, this probably means I got another buy order that got hit because I remember putting a buy order in there. When we took a look at this for today, this was an interesting setup. As we can see that the breakout here on November the 27th, and that it did a very good job in establishing resistance right there. So what happens, of course, you have your typical break it by a little bit, come back to it, and then higher. So that's why I talk about sometimes as far as interesting entry points. If it has a decent break above, as you see, because this line would have been drawn in before the break, you would have seen 11 o'clock this morning, that was a noticeable big resistance point. So you see at 1400 hours it breaks it, and the price might be up to say 1538 handle. So now you're like, okay, I'm going to put a buy order in for 1517, and then I mean you would have been lucky to get 1516 if as the low, if of course you bought it, and then you would have worked out on that point. And then of course if you just bought on the break at 1551, where you put your stop loss, maybe you put a stop down here or stop down below here, however you do it, but either way it was a winning bet looking at it from that perspective. And this is a market on the daily term that has been beaten down, so it's making a move above the 18 average of highs. It's still got a lot to change the trend, but as long as it can stay and hold above 1400 and high change, mid change, then that will at least keep enough for this 18 average to at least flatten out. Now let's go on to Vertcoin. And again, I had one sell order on it, one sell order. Took two orders to complete it, so I was thinking I had two. And then when I look at my notification, I see two VTCs there. I'm hoping it was like a big pump. High today is in at 94.90, currently in at 83.57. And we look at this on the 15-minute time frame. It was unfortunate that I was unable to find out about this sale until like in here, because I sold at like 8,500 and I couldn't get in at the 9,400 mark, unfortunately. As my next sell order was like 9,900, so it was a miss for me at that perspective. So be it, that's fine. As I was able to have a good buy down in the, I can't remember where, I'm not going to check for now, but that ended up selling. I had a few Litecoin sales earlier as well against Bitcoin too, but I play for small percentage moves because I have a large ownership of such. And amongst this, the selling came up on this higher peak in here. As far as these lines are concerned, these are older lines that I had from before. And within Litecoin on the daily chart, another spot, another chance at reverting the trend. It's been failing every last few times it's done it. Here, I tried it. Oftentimes from failed moves comes fast moves in the opposite direction. There's that fast move. Here was the attempt here to break out. Here was the fast move lower after its failed move. So it's always important as it holds. This showed it supported the 18 lows, but it was unable to even attempt to break through this short-term resistance level. And amongst here, it was a pathetic support test amongst the 18 average of lows. So now it's going to be having one such whenever any type of decent pullback or enough days go by for a correctionary mode. But it has had a breakout, so as far as short-term analysis, there's definitely reason to consider giving buyers some short-term control in this market. Within the 1 hour time frame, there has been numerous supports at the 18 average of lows and numerous higher highs since these November 24th lows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 higher highs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh support test of the 18 lows. So that's how the trend looks amongst that. So let's take a look at some other coins that I've traded. And GNT had both a buy and a sell, and cruising on another possible buy order coming soon. As within the 1 hour time frame, we can see. Well, first I bought it at 2020 at this low. I end up missing my bottom here, as we can see. It had a bottom at 2004, but I recognized it. I had 2001. You miss, but you adjust your order, you put it in, and get got the low in here. This bottom down one of these lows in here at around 2020. Well, exactly 2020 for that matter. And then I sold at 22.90 change, like 22.95, 22.99. That's what the high was 22.99. And that happened to be exactly where my sell order was. So I actually got the high on this particular one. And I'm looking to buy back at about 2,000. Again, 2020-ish area. So it's down to 21.14. And I look forward to these kinds of moves. I love when stuff like that happens, because what I want is the markets to move, to go volatile. I'll take sideways action, and I know what's got to happen often in these markets. That's definite reality of the market. But when the markets just are bland, I get like 2, 3, 4 trades a day. It's just not fun. I'm getting more and more now because the markets are becoming a little bit more volatile. And of course, markets going straight down is not good for my portfolio, and there's been a lot of that going on this year. but I'll take it for even decent, substantial, long periods of time, realizing that their markets go up, markets go down. And when we take a look at this, let's just even see how. I mean, yeah, this is a straight down kind of movement here. But sort of like this here, you go down and then, ooh, big move up. I wouldn't be surprised. And even if this only has like a move up to 4,400 from here, I'm still going to do relatively well, considering that this thing could end up having monstrous moves. Look at this one from before. Huge, huge sell off. So if you imagine playing that strategy I talk about, the buy low, sell high, and starting back at the beginning, like, well, in March 2017, this is the early point. From this point into the summer, it was so easy to win in this market because everything was going up. And so was the case. At the end of the year, it got a little more difficult. This one just went straight down for the most part. Yeah, you know what? There's a little bit of help along the way. Get just these moves like we see in here are always going to help along the way. But then you have just this beautiful rally here, sell off, beautiful rally. So I thrive on markets having all of this up and down choppy action, and I wouldn't be surprised at any given point if we have what we've seen like we did last year. This is December up to January here. Everything was going up again. It was like easy to profit big, and cryptos, Bitcoin was going up big, all the other altcoins were. And this year it's been very easy to lose in the market because there's been a lot of going down and not as much aggressive bullish rallies, although this was a very spectacular April Fool's rally. And when I say April Fool's rally, that's because most of the coins went up pretty much around April 1st, and it's all topped at around April 30th. And as it was going lower, I said, well, I'm going to call it the April Fool's rally, so I've stuck within that name. Let's take a look at some other coins again. And POA I sold at about 1100, just a hair below. So I could have got 12. I wish my order would have been like 11.95, rather it was like 10.95. So be it. That's part of the game. And some same bad luck within app coins. I got 12.95, and I could have got up to 13.95. So pretty much the same sort of deal amongst this coin. As far as it on a technical analysis level, it's the band's flattening out. It had several days of going sideways from this low on November the 20th, so it's having its first attempt and really getting out of the downtrend slash sideways trend. But no, not really slash sideways trend. Getting out of the downtrend. Obviously, if it can have some momentum getting above 1300 and holding around 1285 or holding 1250 and breaking over 1500, that'd be enough for the 18 average to start to rise. But enough for this is flattening out, and I don't know when the move is going to happen. And I mean, this should be more motivation. I mean, if you have any buy orders here, just look at this day here on October 28th. A high of 2,055, a low of 229, a close of 1762. It was down 10% for the day. Only price pays. What's that? Only price pays. So if you had a buy order in for 500, even though you could have been lower, that's an amazing accomplishment. 1,000, it's an amazing accomplishment. And I'm not doing this on Binance because I would have to put Bitcoin from my hardware wallet to do it, and it's not worth it for this task. But on other sites, and even other codes of larger amounts like Komodo and Theta and whatnot. And Theta hasn't traded in a while for me, but anyway, what I like to do is this. Let's just assume I were to enter a position of 1240, where am I going to be buying? Probably about 1050, because that's a differential of about 190 points, and that would be about 14% down. So that's good enough for me. And then I put sell orders in. Put one in at about 200 basis points higher, so 1449 maybe. And then put another sell order in for about maybe 1800 and change. Put another one in for about 34, 32, and then one extremely high. But if I have extra Bitcoin based currency, then what I like to do is put a buy order for say 1050, and let's just assume that I bought 100 of a particular coin originally, then I most likely have a buy order to buy about 14. This would work out to about 14 that I would buy. But then I put a buy order in for something like 300, 250 maybe. And I'd probably put a buy order in for about close to what I own, maybe 75 or so. So in a situation where, say, like this was going on, if the price action was 1600, of course, those numbers would have even been a little different. I would have been looking to buy at like 1400 and then maybe have like 500 in as a buy order. And then if I were to have it happen in a spot like that, obviously it didn't. I was trading it against Binance Coin at that time. But had I had that, then I can sell it immediately for profit, and I would. It's just too amazing when situations like that can come into place. There's a bunch more that I traded today. And ICX was a sale at 665 with the high coming in at 670. So pretty close to the top in here. Interesting setup that this is showing amongst the 100 time frame on Icon. As we can see, beautiful support on the 18 average of lows amongst this single hour time frame. And then nice little break higher, a little bit of support at the 18 highs, completing that move break to close to where my sell number level was, and is now still currently supporting well enough the 18 average of highs. If this is unable to break out soon, it's gonna make the 18 average start to barely go higher to slash flatten out. But when you look at this further, say on like the 3 hour time frame, after such a long downtrend, and I mean really, really, really bad long downtrend, there was no real good I mean, ever since, especially November 6th on this, just straight down. So now this is its first attempt. It first at the 1600 timestamp here got above this short-term level of resistance in the 18 average of highs, and for the next two periods it managed to rally up to around where we stand now at 637, and coming back down, and for two periods holding the 18 average of highs. And this is two nice beautiful periods since then going higher, correcting a little sideways there, so showing signs of the possible reversal in the market. But as this plays out on the daily term, it's just important at this stage right now to hold the low 600 area enough to make the 18 average flatten out. And if this thing gets above 700, then this thing has the opportunity, who knows, to have, well, it's got decent resistance at around 850, up or even into the 900s area as a possibility. Lend was sell for me at 215. And when we see this on the hour time frame, I mean, a picture, say 1,000 words or something like that. 207 was a pretty big level of resistance, and it just keeps doing what it's been doing. And this is grinding your way to the upside, but it's at that level of resistance you'd be expecting it to go. This previous market about 2.25. So getting there, maybe we'll see how long this trend has to change, and this could break out to a huge move to the upside. But it's right now consistently at least grinding its way to the upside, and overall, this market has had major declines, going from like a lot of coins share the same story, 2,700 to 217. So it's lost about 12x. And just before the start of the year, I mean, when it had its move, it had its huge like 14, 15x rally. Who knows what this is possible of, but you see days like this, those are what I'm looking for as well as a trader. But when I'm buying down at like 190 and the price goes to like 215, that's a differential of like I probably hit the low. Well, in order for me to sell at 215, I would have had to have bought like around 180, 181. I would have had the only way I could have, because if it's at 185, that's a differential of 30 points. Yeah, so 185, 186, 187, I would have had to bought at. Strat was the next. Well, earlier this morning, Strat sold at under 20, the 1990 handle. Right now, down to 1890. As we take a look at this on the single-hour time frame, I guess it was a lunchtime sale rather. Has this move and has corrected it so far. Had one rally attempt in here. 15-minute time frame, and this is Bittrex over that of Binance. It pretty much would look about the same. Although there might have been arbitrage availabilities. However, if it's going to run out of steam, then it's probably going to fall down towards here. And for me, I mean, I don't really know, and nor do I really care too much, because either it's going to fall down and maybe I can fill in this buy order. After all, it's got to go down to 17,000 or so for me to buy back. And I'm not going to sell again to about 23. Okay, next coin was that of Populous, 4,300 and change. The sale, and this thing fell from 5,800 down to 36, and has just had a quick little rally. Again, same thing with these down moves. It's got a hold right around this 18 average of lows area for the band to flatten out. It hasn't gotten above the 18 in my book. It's pierced above it, but it's just it's got the potential. If it goes like 4750, 4800, okay, now we're starting about a potential breakout rally and maybe testing upwards about the 5700 area. But this has got an interesting look on the single-hour time frame, and when you look at the day trading opportunities with this that happened, we can see, and you gotta shorten the time frame out to see it a little bit better, and I will. But you go from 39.67. I can just see the numbers up top. A high of 45.25, of low of 39.61. So you go from 45 down to 4,000. Then next up to 46.50, and then back down the next period to 41.90. So for some short-term movements, that's pretty good, as you can just see in here. Like up, quick move down, up, quick move down, up, quick move down, up, little bit down. So a lot of opportunities for some short-term trades. Of course, in this situation, you need to be picking away at like 5, 6, 7, 10% moves in order to take advantage of such, because that's all that's available for this. But nonetheless, that's what Populous looks like. And the only other market that I have traded outside of a couple coins on Cryptopia, like XBY, would be that of the TUSD. But I've just had a couple more buys on Komodo, so I'm curious to see Even if this arbitrage, it's got to be over soon, you would think. 1600 and 1670. So the arbitrage is still available where you can sell at 1670 here right now and buy at 1594. Okay. A lot of great volatility there. Now, one thing you always got to check is the wallets in situations like this. Because if any one of the two wallets is offline, and I did remember seeing earlier that on Binance, the Komodo wallet was offline, that you're not going to be able to transfer coins back and forth. Now, if you're confident it's just going to work out fine and dandy, you can wait later. So what would happen is you would sell all your coins on Bittrex, buy it back on Binance, and then you just got to wait for the wallet maintenance to be done. And then you can send coins from Binance to Bittrex thereafter it. However, with that being said, when that's not the case, then you can get a lot of decent gains sometimes. And when there is wallets down, then discrepancies amongst two sites can most certainly go on for a substantial period of time, because the art of the arbitrage and transferring coins back and forth so easy, no longer becoming available, can make that occur. I've seen that on smaller exchanges quite often where I look quickly, oh my goodness, PivX is 20,000 here and 28,000 there, or 25,000 there, and then I make the buy and then I see, oh, wallet offline. Damn it. That's not some of the part of the game. Okay, let's finish this off by Bitcoin. Usually when I do these long videos, I start it off with Bitcoin and then I conclude it with all the others. So now that's the reverse in this case. As price action has managed to make it up to the 18 average of lows in at 41.32 from the 3,500 lows. And it had a decent sized gain as the daily session was up 11.9%. Had most of its gains earlier on in the day, and it really didn't do too much. A small downward retracement, but other than that, not too much. We can see movements through most of this day, topping at 3 o'clock, selling off a little bit. So for me, what I've been doing is selling Bitcoin for TUSD, because when the market went down this run, I was selling TUSD, and I can show that with the actual tracking device. We can also take a look at the differential from Bitfinex as 1.017. This is, we'll go to the other one in a bit, but this is one of the lowest areas it's been for a while. It got down to like just a little over 1.01. But if you're selling up here, you're able to buy back down here, get like 2-3% gains, easy enough. I don't trust the Tether to be bothered in doing such. But for me, as we can see, because this market was going up on, this is the daily term time frame. I'm going to shorten the time frame out on this. So during this run in here, I'd sell up here, I bought a bit back down here, sold a bit up here, and as you can see, it's pretty much been buy orders for me. And it's $1 for $1. So if I'm selling $50 worth up here, I'll put buy orders in for $50 after it, and so on and so forth. Wow, this was a long video. Thank you for tuning in. Wow, 35 minutes. Did it really go on that long? Well, not quite, but practically. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.